Heather here, Rewired for Success. Speaking of success, I've just been on a blessed weekend with an international success network. We meet all over the world, and this time it was in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And at the end of the weekend, stayed an extra day or two, which I would highly recommend when you gather with great people, because spontaneous magic happens that you never imagined. And one piece of that magic was half a dozen of us went up Montreal, the Mount Royal in Montreal, and happened to strike up a conversation with one of the members, Ara, from Montreal. And I asked him, what's his passion? And he said, making meaningful movies. And in fact, bringing some of the success principles and, among others, twinning it with Buddhism. I said, interesting. And asked him, have you ever seen the movie 7 Years in Tibet? And he hadn't. And I said, it's, with one of those good-looking, you may have seen it, with one of those good-looking Hollywood actors and a whole bunch of Tibetan monks. And there's this one classic scene where he's all sort of U.S. brawn and excited to, let's build a new monastery, build something. And so they're digging the trench around for the foundation, and he's kind of getting agitated in typical North American style. No offense to anyone in particular. And he's sort of, what's going on? Why is it taking so long? Why is it taking so much time? And it turns out that, one of the head monks walks him over to the trench, and he witnesses with his own eyes half a dozen monks very painstakingly, yes, they're digging, but very carefully, and taking one little living worm out at a time as to not kill them. One of the Eastern principles being ahimsa, above all else, do no harm. And they were living that, and then handing it up to a half a dozen monks outside of the trench as they were carrying them one by hand to safety and to life. And this success colleague of mine, Ara, said, yes, time has no meaning to them. And I heard that, as I'm familiar with that concept in various ways, in a new unit of time, in a new way. And I thought, well, you're right, and then what does have meaning to them? The opposite, or life, the life of the worm, the life of all living beings. And I was playing with it, and I realized, wow, time has no meaning to them. Life does. And as a terribly big stereotypical generalization of North America, one could summarize us as the opposite, which is life has no meaning to us, all relative. Time does. We tend to be very time-bound, and even in that moment, it was like, okay, I had to leave Montreal at 2:45 to take a colleague potentially to a hotel, and from there, get on the highway, which I'm on now, to go to Quebec City, 2.5 hours down the road to get to a dinner in Quebec. You get the idea. We get very particular and adamant about time, our time, how important we are, how our ego thinks we're important if we have people to see, places to go, time, schedules. And so the question first is to ask yourself, by action, not by thought or concept or belief, but by action, what is more meaningful to you, time or life? If we're worried, busy, stressed about time, and therefore leading to disease and leading to less health and leading to less life, I'll tell you, there's a higher value on time potentially than on your life. And so the invitation is to do a figure ground reversal, to tip the seesaw in your favor, to flip, and even for a day, if not a lifetime, but start with a day, practice life being more important, more meaningful to you than time. So as opposed to time being more meaningful than life, have life be more meaningful than time in your day. Love to hear your reports, love to hear your successes. Heather Ramsey, ReWired, WorldWide.